Welcome to the podcast where we dive into the most hilarious, heartfelt, and hidden gems of musical theatre. I'm your host, Ephigenia Doubtfire, dearies, and today we're putting on a wig and a full-face prosthetic to talk about a show that's all about family, finding your voice, and the power of a really, really convincing disguise. We're talking about the one and only Mrs. Doubtfire, the musical. How is that? Thank you, Ephigenia. That was great. Mrs. Doubtfire is a musical with music and lyrics by Carrie and Wayne Kirkpatrick, and a book by Carrie Kirkpatrick and British comedy scriptwriter himself, Mr. John O'Farrell. Now, based on the 1993 film Mrs. Doubtfire, which in turn is based on the 1987 novel Madame Doubtfire by Anne Fine, the musical is set in the city of San Francisco, California. Now, the story follows Daniel Hillard, a loving but irresponsible actor who loses custody of his kids after a messy divorce from his wife, Miranda. Now, desperate to be a part of their lives again, he transforms himself into the eccentric, elderly Scottish nanny.
Euphigenia Doubtfire, dear.
As Mrs. Doubtfire, he gets hired by his ex-wife to care for the children, leading to a series of comedic and heartwarming moments as he juggles his two identities. Through the disguise, Daniel learns valuable lessons about fatherhood and responsibility, realizing that being a good parent is about much more than just being a good friend. Now, a musical adaptation of Mrs. Doubtfire was originally in the works in 2015, with music by Alan Menken, lyrics by David Zippel, and a book by Harvey Fierstein himself, who originally played Frank Hillard in the movie. However, 3 years later, Menken told the press that the project was put on creative hiatus, citing changes in the creative team as the problem. In 2018, three-time Tony-winning producer Kevin McCollum revealed that the adaptation was still aiming for a Broadway bow, but with an entirely different creative team, including two-time Tony-winning director Jerry Zaks coming on board as the show's director. By December of 2019, the musical made its world premiere at the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle, Washington, with an intention to run until December 29th, before being extended due to popular demand until January 4th of 2020. Now, the Seattle cast included two-time Tony nominees Rob McClure and Brad Oscar, stage, film, and television actors Jen Gambatese and Peter Bartlett, as well as British theater actor, dancer, and singer Mark Evans, and Tony-winning actor and first openly non-binary actor to be nominated for and to win a Tony, Mr. J. Harrison Gee. By March of 2020, the musical transferred to Broadway's Stephen Sondheim Theater. However, due to the governor's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, all Broadway productions were suspended until further notice. This meant that the production would eventually return to New York City on December 5th. However, it would then be shut down due to positive COVID cases from January until April of 2022. Now, after 1 month after reopening, the producers thought it was wise to close the production on May 29th of 2022 after just 83 performances. The Broadway production received mixed reviews, with praise for the cast, namely McClure, Oscar, and Bartlett. However, some of the characters and plot points were criticized for feeling written as tired and forgettable. Likewise, the score was mostly criticized for being unmemorable, though enjoyable. By September 2021, the musical would breathe new life, but this time across the pond, opening at the Manchester Opera House with a cast including What's on Stage award-winning actor Cameron Blakely, British musical theater actress Kelly Agabwu, as well as British singer and finalist on 2011's X Factor series Marcus Collins. By May of 2023, the musical would transfer to London's Shaftesbury Theatre, starring the same cast from the Manchester run. After running with positive vibes in the West End, the production officially did close in April of this year, with plans to tour the world to be announced at a later date. Now, guys, I can't officially confirm the musical will have two brand new openings. One at the Capitol Theater in Dusseldorf, Germany on Halloween of this year, running until April 12th of 2026. The second opening will be a brand new UK and Ireland tour opening at the Birmingham Hippodrome in August of 2026. Now, I will have links where you can get more information about each production and purchase tickets to each in the description below. As a final tribute to the musical, here's a bit about its backstory, including one of the most iconic actors of its generation, and one that will forever be our Mrs. Doubtfire, the one and only Robin Williams. Now, Mrs. Doubtfire was filmed in San Francisco, California at 2640 Steiner Street, to be exact. This address is where all of the exterior shots were filmed, which after Robin's death would become an impromptu memorial. Now, all interior shots for the film took place in a Bay Area warehouse converted for soundstage usage. The makeup for Mrs. Doubtfire's appearance took 4 hours to apply. Now, fun fact here, Robin later recounted how he used to walk through San Francisco dressed in full makeup and costume as Mrs. Ephigenia Doubtfire. One could only wonder if they really knew who was under all that makeup and prosthetics. Now, Mrs. Doubtfire collected $20.4 million during its 3-day opening weekend. Within its first 5 days of release, it generated a total gross of $27.5 million. And upon opening, it would go on to not only reach the #1 spot at the box office, beating out both The Addams Family Values and A Perfect World, but the film would become the last non-Disney film to win the Thanksgiving weekend box office until 2000's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. In essence, it's a bizarre cinematic family tree. In Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams' character is a master of disguise. But he's not the only one in a 90s film world playing an eccentric, zany character for laughs. In Addams Family Values, Christopher Lloyd plays the maniacal Uncle Fester, who marries a murderous Black Widow. The connection then comes full circle in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. While Jim Carrey is the star as the grumpy green Grinch, his loyal dog Max is played by none other than Christopher Lloyd. So, in a roundabout way, a character from the same movie universe as the best nanny ends up as the Grinch's furry best friend. It's the ultimate shared universe for actors playing lovably bizarre characters, proving that Hollywood really is a very small world after all. Now, looking over most of Robin Williams' filmography, one writer was struck by the breadth and radical diversity of most of the roles Williams portrayed. In 1989, he played a private school English teacher in Dead Poets Society, a therapist in Good Will Hunting, which deeply affected even some real therapists. In 1990's Awakenings, he played a doctor modeled after Oliver Sacks, who wrote the book on which the film is based. In 1991, Williams played an adult Peter Pan in the film Hook, for which he had to lose 25 pounds to be able to play the role. His voice role as the genie in 1992's animated musical Aladdin, which at first Williams refused the role because it was a Disney movie, and he did not want the studio profiting by selling merchandise based on the movie. He did, however, accept the role with certain conditions. I'm doing it basically because I want to be part of this animation tradition. I want something for my children. Well, in 2002's Insomnia, Williams portrayed a murderer on the run from a sleep-deprived Los Angeles police detective played by Al Pacino in rural Alaska. That same year, in the psychological thriller 1 Hour Photo, Robin portrayed an emotionally disturbed photo development technician who becomes obsessed with a family for whom he has developed pictures for a long time. Then, the 2004 science fiction psychological thriller The Final Cut, where he played a professional who specializes in editing the memories of unsavory people into uncritical memories that are played at funerals. That's disturbing. In 2006, Williams starred in 5 movies, including a political satire known as Man of the Year and The Night Listener, a thriller about a radio show host who realizes that a child with whom he has developed a friendship may not actually exist. Now, Williams continued to provide voices in other animated films, including 2005's Robots, 2006 to 2011's film franchise The Happy Feet, an uncredited vocal performance in Everyone's Hero, and he also voiced the holographic character Dr. No in the 2001 live-action film AI Artificial Intelligence, and was the voice of the Timekeeper, a former attraction at the Walt Disney World Resort about a time-traveling robot who encounters Jules Verne and brings him to the future. Man, I wish I was alive to see that. Actually, I think I was. 2014's The Angriest Man in Brooklyn was his last movie to be released during his lifetime. Now, in the movie, Williams portrayed Henry Altman, an angry, bitter man who tries to change his life after being told he has a terminal illness. Well, throughout his career, Robin Williams had won 6 Golden Globe Awards, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and 5 Grammy Awards. Unfortunately, on August 11th of 2014, Williams passed away in his California home from suicide by hanging amid dementia caused by Lewy body and Parkinson's. Now, although Williams was first recognized as a stand-up comedian and television star, he became known for acting in film roles of substance and serious drama. Williams was considered a national treasure by many in the entertainment industry and by the public. Robin created a signature free-form comedy persona so widely and uniquely identified that new comedians like Jim Carrey impersonated him, paving the way for the growing comedy scene that developed in San Francisco. Young comedians felt more liberated on stage by seeing his spontaneously diverse range, one moment acting as a bright, mischievous child, then as a wise philosopher or an alien from outer space. Robin's film performances often influenced other actors, both in and out of the film industry. Director Chris Columbus, who directed him in Mrs. Doubtfire, says watching him work was a magical and special privilege. His performances were unlike anything any of us had ever seen. They came from some spiritual or otherworldly place. Remember, guys, Robin Williams didn't just play a character, he created an icon who continues to teach us about love, laughter, and the importance of being present for the people that we cherish. He dedicated his life to serving his passion, and in essence, Robin Williams helped us all grow up. Take it away, Iphigenia.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. But what a journey. Mrs. Doubtfire proves that love will always find a way to bring a family together, even if it's a tweed suit and sensible shoes. It reminds us that being a good parent isn't always about being perfect. It's about being present. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, remember to always be yourself. Unless you can be Mrs. Doubtfire.